Prince Harry has responded to evidence of widespread bullying at an organisation he set up in memory of his mother, Princess Diana. The dispute at the heart of Sentebale saw the Duke of Sussex resign as the charity's chair.
It's official. Prince Harry has been forced out of the very charity he built from scratch. Not by accident, and certainly not by choice, but through a public and deeply humiliating collapse of trust, leadership, and reputation. Once the royal golden boy, he's now seen as a liability. This is the story of ego, missteps, and a prince who soared too high only to come crashing down.
Really, what Prince Harry wanted to do was to eject me from the organization, and this went on for months. It went on for months through bullying, harassment. I have documentation.
Prince Harry's dramatic ousting from his own creation, Sentebale, didn't happen overnight. It came after a string of bullying complaints from within the organization's staff and insiders who had finally reached their breaking point. And while the UK's Charity Commission later cleared the organization itself, the problem, they said, was Harry. He was repeatedly named at the center of behavior staff, described as dismissive and disrespectful.
A very straightforward action plan with maybe 5 or 6 steps that the trustees are bound to take with a timetable, and the trustees have to relate back to the Charity Commission to report on their observance and carrying out of the action plan.
Controlling and volatile, that's how insiders described him. The result was a quiet yet decisive push to strip him of any leadership or strategic role at Sentebale. For a man who once championed emotional well-being and mental health. The irony couldn't be sharper. Harry's loyalists call it a hostile takeover. But many inside Sentebale see it as something else entirely, a rescue mission. Stepping into the chaos was Dr. Sophie Shandaka, a highly respected force in philanthropy. She didn't ask permission. She didn't wait for royal approval. She took action. And her first bold move? Cutting Harry loose. Despite the outrage from his inner circle, the board's overwhelming support for her decision was proof enough. Confidence in Harry's leadership had vanished long before this moment.
Media. Instead, do it behind closed doors, so that the charity and those that it serves aren't negatively affected. Dumbass. Anywho, as made clear to all parties in this case, if disputes do occur, the regulator recommends...
What truly marks the scale of Harry's downfall isn't just the board's decision. It's Prince Siso's silence. For nearly 2 decades, Siso of Lutu stood shoulder to shoulder with Harry, turning Sentebale from nothing into a multi-million-pound force for good. But now, insiders say both princes see no path back to the charity as long as Shandaka is in charge. Translation: the damage is done. The brotherhood is broken. And even Siso, once Harry's fiercest defender in royal disputes, can no longer shield him from the consequences of his own actions. Staff, former trustees, and insiders aren't holding back anymore. They describe Harry's leadership as micromanaging, obsessed with image, and at times openly hostile. One former trustee put it bluntly, he couldn't separate his personal brand from the charity's mission. Everything came down to control, optics, and spin. This wasn't the hands-off philanthropist people imagined. This was an insecure royal demanding loyalty while delivering chaos in return. While Sentebale struggled, Harry chased media headlines, leaning into celebrity over service. The tragedy is that Sentebale was once the gold standard for royal charity work. But under Harry's increasingly erratic influence, it became a battleground. His defenders insist he poured his blood, sweat, and tears into the mission. Those still inside the organization counter with a hard truth: no amount of passion can repair toxic leadership. They talk of fractured teams, alienated donors, and a vision that's been lost.
Seeking mediation, showing goodwill, and acting in good faith. It also encourages all trustees to be mindful to channel their belief in the charity's mission in a constructive and collaborative way. Now, fan of the Prince and Princess of Wales at Tribes Britannia on X pretty much summed it all up, saying
and a charity that lost its soul, trying to serve 2 masters, its mission and Harry's ego. From royal duty to global disgrace, Prince Harry's chapter with Sentebale hasn't ended with gratitude, but with a quiet dismissal and a deafening silence. As this drama enters its second act, the spotlight turns to looming legal battles, frantic PR damage control, and the question of what this all means for the Sussex brand. Harry's charity nightmare is far from over. Legal threats, public humiliation, and a brand in freefall now define his legacy at Sentebale. After nearly 20 years building it into a respected global force, Harry has been pushed out in a humiliating exit, fueled by bullying allegations, failed leadership, and internal revolt. But that was only the beginning. What's coming next could be far worse. Lawsuits, complete public fallout, and a royal brand that may never recover. While no formal lawsuit has been filed yet, the storm clouds are gathering. Chairwoman Sophie Shandaka has reportedly placed the blame for Sentebale's reputational collapse squarely on Harry's shoulders, accusing him of causing irreparable harm to its operations and credibility. Financial backers have walked away, staff morale has plummeted, and leaked internal documents suggest Harry's interference and public scandals have cost the charity millions in lost partnerships and donor trust. Now, several board members are said to be weighing legal action to recover those losses. A move that could leave Prince Harry facing the unthinkable, being sued by the very charity he once founded, even as its future hangs in the balance.
Following, Prince Harry is permanently out of Sentebale after the Charity Commission investigation found that both he and the other trustees who resigned in March failed to address Dr. Chandwaka's complaints. They found that Sentebale was poorly run, with no leadership and no clear structure. They confirmed that
Prince Harry has remained defiantly silent. No apology, no statement, not even an acknowledgement of the internal storm he helped create. For a man who claims to champion mental health, vulnerability, and leadership with empathy, his refusal to take accountability is being seen as deeply hypocritical. It's a cowardly retreat, critics say, from someone who demands apologies from others but never offers his own. And that silence, it's only making things worse. At one point, Prince Harry was the poster boy for modern monarchy. Hands-on, relatable, passionate, but now he's increasingly viewed as a liability in every space he enters, from the royal family to Netflix, Spotify, and now his own charity. Harry's pattern of over-promising and under-delivering while alienating everyone around him has become impossible to ignore. Donors, leaders, and former colleagues say, the problem isn't bad luck, it's bad leadership. Sentebale didn't just lose a founder. It lost credibility by staying tied to someone whose public persona no longer aligns with stability, trust, or professionalism. Inside sources say the Sussex PR machine has gone into full-blown damage control. Media outlets are being pressured to drop the story or frame it in softer language. But the facts are out and they're too damning to spin. Reports indicate Meghan's team has even urged Harry to cut ties completely and let the story die, but that's proving impossible. The scandal is now international news, and with key staff resignations, boardroom leaks, and online backlash flooding in, this PR disaster is one even Sunshine Sachs can't mop up. While Harry retreats into silence, Sentebale is moving on without him and fast. Under Shandanda's new leadership, the charity is undergoing a massive internal overhaul aimed at regaining trust and functionality. We no longer need celebrity. One senior board member reportedly said, "We need results. We need clarity. We need leadership." And Harry, they say, offered none of that in recent years. For the first time in its 19-year history, Sentebale is setting a course without royal interference, and many believe it's the best thing that's ever happened to it. As Prince Harry fades into the background of a legacy he once helped shape, one thing is clear. Title and status can't shield you from accountability forever. The world of service and charity demands real work, not curated Instagram quotes and Netflix interviews. Coming up next, we dive into how this scandal could permanently damage the Sussex brand and why this time the public may never forgive. Prince Harry's image once radiated hope, compassion, and modern leadership. But now, as the dust settles on his explosive fallout with Sentebale, we are left with a haunting question. What's really left of Prince Harry's public credibility after being ousted from his own charity amid a growing list of scandals, internal complaints, and failed ventures? Harry's reputation may not just be dented, it might be beyond repair. Sentebale was more than a project. It was Harry's passion, the emotional cornerstone of his public identity, built in honor of his mother's legacy. But that legacy now lies in ruins. Being removed from a charity you helped create, especially after allegations of bullying and toxic leadership, is no small matter. It tells the public and the professional world alike that Harry may not be the man he claims to be behind the cameras. It's not just bad PR, it's a reputational crisis. And this isn't the first collapse, from the Netflix fallout to the Spotify deal's humiliating termination.
It isn't their role to investigate the bullying and racism allegations, but it was clear that the breakdown happened because of a lack of respect. And here, Rebecca English, royal editor for the Daily Mail, is confirming that Prince Harry has quit Sentebale as a result of this particular.
And now, Sentebale. Another name added to the growing list of broken alliances. The pattern is undeniable. Mismanaged leadership, fractured relationships, and exits that leave nothing but scorched earth behind. What was once a multi-million-dollar brand built on justice, transparency, and compassion has withered into a hollow PR facade. Archwell may still be standing, but its foundation is cracking with every controversy. The Sussex name has become shorthand for drama, demands, and underwhelming results. Projects once hailed as groundbreaking now feel like shallow vanity exercises, lacking the lasting impact they promised. Critics and former collaborators alike ask the same question. How can someone speak so passionately about kindness and mental health, yet reportedly mistreat the very people working behind the scenes? It's a contradiction that's hurting not just Harry's image, but the reputation of everything tied to him. There was a time when the public leaned in to listen, when his words carried weight, when his tears felt real. But that time has passed. The court of public opinion is colder now. Sentebale wasn't just another headline, it was a warning shot. People are done with the contradictions, the victim narratives, and the refusal to take ownership. The empathy is gone, and without it, his voice rings hollow. If Prince Harry truly wants to rebuild, he'll have to do what he's never done before: take full responsibility. No spin, no silence, no carefully staged interviews. Just real words, real apologies, and real change. Because right now, every bridge from the royal family to his own causes is burning behind him. And if he keeps walking this road, one day he may turn around to find nothing left but smoke, headlines, and regret. He wanted to be more than a prince, to be a changemaker, a humanitarian, a global voice. But somewhere along the way, he forgot to look in the mirror. Now, stripped of his crown, his charities, and much of the goodwill he once enjoyed, he's not standing as a leader but as a cautionary tale. This was his legacy to protect, and he let it slip away.